Well, a very good evening to you. I trust you are keeping well this Friday, the 14th of August, 2020. Trust you're keeping safe, healthy, and even as we combat the COVID-19 pandemic. My name is Anna Rachel Mbugua. Our sign language interpreter for tonight is Joyce Wairimo. This is Ebru News, Primetime News. Let's begin the broadcast with the uproar surrounding the expenditure of COVID-19 billions, claiming its first casualties after the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency suspended its chief executive and 2 directors to allow investigations into claims of corruption in COVID-19 procurements and related issues. Now, this is after a special audit unearthed procurement and financial irregularities that put at risk over 100 billion shillings of donor funds.
The special audit report opened the lid on, among other things, the irregularities spree that led to allegations by Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe that his ministry is a den of thieves run by procurement cartels.
You have no idea how bad it is. You are just mentioning KEMSA here. And you are mentioning something, Ministry of Health, in passing. My friend, blood from the ministry has been found in Mogadishu. Blood.
The Kenya Medical Supplies Agency on the spot, with the Health Ministry confirming the same.
Following the laid down laws that govern procurement. And remember that even though we have the Procurement Act, that there are also provisions under circumstances such as the ones that we are going through now, which is a pandemic. I would not want to get into what was done right and what was probably not done right, but I'm sure that we have the relevant oversight authorities that will be looking into that process, whether the process was conducted according to the law, even given the provisions that it is an emergency time.
And today, the claims have claimed its first casualty after the agency suspended CEO Jonah Manjare alongside directors Eliud Murithi of Commercial and Charles Jume Procurement. The racket that put the trio in hot soup is said to be that KEMSA abused its monopoly on the medical supplies front and inflated the cost of crucial supplies meant to combat COVID-19. The agency is said to have procured the N95 masks at an outrageous price of 1,300 shillings per piece against the 700 shillings market price and ordered 5,000 pieces. The agency also bought KN95 masks at 700 shillings per piece against a market price of at most 450 shillings and ordered 1,836,400 masks. KEMSA procured disposable surgical masks at 90 shillings per piece against the market price of 50 shillings. Personal protective equipment was procured at 9,000 shillings, twice the market price of 4,500 shillings.
Now, with the increasing number of positive COVID-19 cases, the biggest concern for the Health Ministry is the level of misinformation circulating. The ministry's CAS, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, says spreading unverified information about COVID-19 cure hampers efforts in the fight against the deadly contagion that has killed 465 people and infected 29,334 people, according to the latest update by the Ministry of Health.
Since the first case of COVID-19 was reported in the country in March, Kenyans have had to absorb information from various sources, some verified, some just myths. This, according to the Health CAS, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, is an impediment towards the fight against the deadly contagion.
We continue to see information in different platforms, and some of this information digresses from ways in which we can manage COVID-19. Information containing certain concoctions that you can take that will be able to cure you. And it becomes important to ensure that everybody adheres to the containment measures and that we are all aware that passing false information can actually hamper the efforts against this disease.
Dr. Mwangangi's statement comes barely a month after the WHO labeled mis- and disinformation a second wave of the pandemic. This as cases of the contagion nears 30,000 mark after 580 people turned positive for the virus.
530 are Kenyans, whereas 50 are foreigners. 336 of them are male, while 244 of them are female. The youngest is a 1-year-old baby, and the oldest is 92.
Nairobi continues to record the highest number at 375 cases, followed by Kiambu at 53 cases, Machakos 23, Busia 17, Mombasa 15, Nakuru 15, Kajiado 14, Kisumu 12, Lamu 10, Nyeri 7, Laikipia 3, Baringo, Kisii, Turkana and Vihiga 2 cases each, while Garissa, Bungoma, Murang'a, Nyandarua, Siaya and Trans Nzoia 1 case each. At the same time, 198 more people have been reported to have recovered from the virus, raising the number of recoveries so far to 15,298.
From this number, 119 are from the home-based care program, whereas 79 have been discharged from various hospitals. And this therefore brings the total number of recoveries in the country to 15,298.
5 more patients, including a senior pulmonologist, have succumbed to the virus, raising fatalities in the country to 465. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
Now, in a move that might cripple the fight against the coronavirus, doctors working in Nairobi County have issued a 7-day notice for a strike to begin on August 21st. In the notice to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union lists 5 grievances which CAS for Health Dr. Mercy Mwangangi says they have already been met, while others are being considered.
In the notice to the NMS, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union listed 5 major grievances.
During this COVID pandemic, we need to be treated as human beings. We are not children of a lesser God. We are not martyrs.
They are demanding comprehensive National Hospital Insurance Fund covers, saying their covers have not been active since the beginning of last month. KMPDU County Secretary Thuranira Kagwiria said they are demanding salaries and arrears of 5 specialists going back to 6 months.
From 1st of July, we have not had a medical cover. Number 2, we don't have an isolation facility where us as doctors will be isolated within the county. We have not been paid our July salary. Our June salary was paid on July 20th.
Thuranira said the quality of personal protective equipment delivered in city public hospitals was wanting, forcing healthcare workers to improvise with their own equipment.
We have been getting very poor PPEs. Part of it is the reason why we have more than 10 doctors who have contracted COVID. We have some of us who have been admitted in MPSHA, some in Kenyatta National Hospital. Not forgetting that at the end of it all, we have to pay our bills whether we go to a private facility.
However, Health CAS Mercy Mwangangi said the Ministry of Health officials, together with those from the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, held a meeting on Friday morning to discuss the concerns raised by the health workers.
Ndio kumekuwa na shida kuweza kubadilisha ile payroll kutoka county ya Nairobi hadi kwa Nairobi Metropolitan Services, lakini haya mambo yote yametatuliwa. Ya kwanza, PPEs ziko.
She noted that all doctors' grievances outlined when they gave a strike notice are being considered and some have already been met.
Mambo ya NHIF, bima ya NHIF, hapo tunaenda kutatulia hiyo jambo. Budget iko, pesa zimo, na hawa wafanyikazi wataweza kuandikishwa katika bima ya NHIF.
According to reports, at least 15 doctors in Nairobi have contracted COVID-19 since community spread began in April. The medics recovered at home without the need for hospitalization. As of last week, Kenya had lost 14 health workers, doctors and other cadres to the disease and over 600 infected with the disease. The clock is now ticking. As medical health practitioners say, the failure to implement their demands is a ticking time bomb that threatens to blow up the fight against COVID-19. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Busara Naaman.
Well, thank you, Busara and Aman, for that report. Now, moving on, Education CS George MAGOHA has dared teachers not willing to engage in community learning to step aside. This coming after a section of the teachers requested to be provided with PPEs as the proposed initiative is set to begin. Our reporter, Amelia Kisienya, with more.
The community learning framework that was launched 2 weeks ago by the Ministry of Education was aimed at solving the puzzle of learning amidst the closure of schools.
Assistant Chief.
But the move now is eliciting different reactions from a section of teachers, reactions that have made the Education CS Professor George MAGOHA not so amused.
Turning around and twisting the concepts of community teaching is most regrettable. Community teaching was meant to teach those children in the locality where they live, with a teacher who lives among them. And I'm now hearing a lot of hot air.
Speaking while inspecting institutions of higher learning on their preparedness on COVID-19 in Eldoret, MAGOHA said that the teachers do not require the protective gears, adding that they should adapt to the hard times the country is facing.
If you live in a group of buildings which is gated, that has about 30 children, and there's one teacher there, why are you saying you need PPEs? If you don't want to teach the children, then don't bother. The children belong to you.
Regarding the NEMIS funds that are alleged to have been reversed and the payment of the BAM teachers delayed, the education boss rubbished claims of the mismanagement of funds from his ministry, stating that any move taken was to ensure that no funds are lost.
Our job with Dr. Bello Kipsang here is to ensure that that money is not stolen. So if we stepped back to confirm and reaffirm the numbers, and you don't like it, then you can do whatever you want. Because we shall only pay the teachers that we know are available to be paid. And they shall be paid because the money is available.
So far, Nakuru County has begun the process of recruiting teachers set for the community learning project that is set to begin to solve the puzzle of learners who cannot access online learning as well as television and radio learning.
But we have
Milik Senya for Ebru TV.
Former Makadara MP Benson Mutura is the new Nairobi County Assembly Speaker. In the election held this afternoon during a special virtual sitting, Mutura, who lost his parliamentary seat to George Aladwa, trounced other 6 contenders to become 3rd Speaker of Nairobi, replacing Beatrice Elachi, who resigned on Monday. Our political affairs reporter Jeff Haemba gives us more details.
In the afternoon session, which saw barely 10 members of the County Assembly attending physically with more than 110, following the proceedings virtually, Benson Mutura emerged the winner in a alleged contested election, winning with a landslide.
I hereby declare Mr. Benson Mutura Kangara as the valid elected Speaker of the Nairobi City County Assembly. Consequently, honorable members, I hereby now again order the Chief Sergeant at Arms to search, find and bring to the chamber the said Benson Mutura Kangara for purposes of ascribing to the oath of the office.
And after the results were announced, Mutura was already in the Assembly precincts, was called in officially to take over the roles of the Speaker.
I, Benson Mutura Kangara, having been elected the Speaker of the County Assembly of Nairobi City, do swear in the name of the Almighty God that I shall always and diligently serve the people and the Republic of Kenya in the office of the Speaker of the County Assembly of Nairobi, that I shall respect, uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, and so help me God.
Mutura's big win is attributed to an endorsement from both the ruling Jubilee Party and the minority party of ODM. Mutura now becomes the 3rd Speaker of Nairobi County Assembly after Alex Ole Magelo and Beatrice Elachi, with the latter resigning following the constant wrangles at the Assembly, controlled by the 122 members of the County Assembly.
Vilevile pia nachukua fursa hii kumshukuru gavana wa Nairobi Mike Mbuvi Sonko wewe ndio gavana wetu, na tutajaribu kama bunge hili tufanye kazi pamoja. Nairobi Metropolitan Services ni shirika, lazima tulishike mkono. Kwa hivi sasa ni kama ule mtoto mdogo anachuchumaa.
Mutura was among the 6 candidates shortlisted for the position of the Nairobi County Assembly Speaker. Alan Chacha, one of the County Assembly members, is among the 6 candidates who feel the process was unfair.
If you tell Chacha that we are advertising the position today, we are shortlisting to tomorrow, we are voting the other day, then basically you've locked out Chacha. Because how do you expect Chacha to go and lobby from the MCAs who are supposed to vote you?
Thank you. Ismail Abdi, the president of all the university students, the private in Kenya. Okay, it's very unfortunately that what has happened today has happened. But again, as the youth of this country, we still have time. What we are appealing to the friends of Handshake, especially the president of this country and Honorable Raila Odinga, is please secure the position of deputy governor for Alan Chacha. He's a determined youth. He represents almost 70% of the youth in this.
They have done what they have done. Our candidate, who was a youth, representing the youth, Alan Chacha, who everybody believed to be the Speaker of the County Assembly of Nairobi, things turned out the way they have turned out.
Nairobi County residents are now hopeful that Mutura will be a unifying factor in the assembly, which has been entangled in political feuds since 2017.
Na sisi kama wananchi wa Nairobi tumefurahia. Hakuna tumefurahia kama sisi. Na nasema ni asanti na gavana wetu Mike Sonko. Watafanya kazi na speaker.
Sasa hivi ni jukumu la former Makadara MP kuleta sanity in the house. Na mimi nataka kuambia speaker, ule MCA yoyote ataleta vurugu County Assembly of Nairobi, mtume kwa miaka 2 nje ya County Assembly of Nairobi.
Mutura was one of the councillors who became an era member of parliament after the March 2013 general election. However, in the last general polls, Mutura under the Jubilee Party ticket lost to ODM candidate George Ladwa. Despite losing in the 2017 elections, Mutura, who walked in the assembly empty-handed on Friday, left the sitting smiling broadly after being handed over the powers as the Speaker of the Assembly, an official Mercedes-Benz vehicle with a tight security in town. Ikiwa imesalia miaka 2 kabla ya uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2022, Ben Mutura sasa na wajibu.
All right, let's move on to other stories now. Chaos rocked the Bomet County Assembly Friday morning during the election of a speaker after Mbomo's MCA Robert Serbai grabbed the mace and attempted to flee with it. Now, the ugly incident happened moments after the acting speaker Wesley Kiprotich, who was presiding over the session, announced the winner after the end of the vote counting, where lawyer Nelson Mutai trounced 6 other candidates to emerge the new speaker. Have a look.
Chaos and punches characterized the search for a new speaker at the County Assembly of Bomet. The ugly incident happening moments after the acting speaker Wesley Kiprotich, who was presiding over the session, announced the winner. After the end of vote counting, where lawyer Nelson Mutai trounced 6 other candidates to emerge the new speaker. Mbomo's MCA Robert Serbai grabbed the mace and attempted to flee with it, but was stopped by the sergeant-at-arms and forced out of the chambers. The ward representative had earlier claimed that the members had been bribed to vote for a particular candidate. He also alleged that Konoin sub-county has been sidelined and starved of crucial positions in the county. Armed security officers who had been deployed to the assembly watched from a distance as the disgruntled member hurled insults. Nairobi-based lawyer Mutai emerged the winner, garnering 27 votes, while his other contender Wilfred Lesan got 0 votes. Cheriot Tamogei got 1 vote, Cherotich Joan 2, Edwin Sietene 2, and Weldon Chirchir 3. Abdiaziz Hashim, Ebru TV.
Now, ODM leader Raila Odinga wants a moratorium on the implementation of the new revenue sharing formula to ensure that counties do not lose revenue once the formula is passed. Now, while expressing optimism that the Senate will pass the formula when they meet on Monday, Raila wants counties to receive the same amounts of money as they received last year. Now, speaking in Kisumu County, Raila said that senators should seek to pursue equity rather than equality in unraveling the formula that has divided right in the middle.
I think what needs to be understood here is not about equality. We are talking about equity in terms of revenue share. That each and every county should get what is fairly its. And like the part where some counties are getting more than other counties, on basis of, for example, some data which have not been verified. Now that we have accurate data, let us use that data and let us be sober in this issue. What we agreed on was that no county should be a loser. In other words, whatever formula you come up with, there should be a moratorium so that no county gets less allocation than it got last year. And then there are also other factors which were not taken into consideration by the Revenue Commission. I had an opportunity to talk to members of the Commission on Revenue Allocation this issue. And they admitted to me that there are factors, like they see, they've used health as a factor. They've used agriculture as a factor. They've used population. They've used land or area as a factor. But they did not use other activities like pastoralism or livestock, wildlife, the blue economy.
Now, away from matters politics, President Uhuru Kenyatta is putting nothing to chance to ensure that the Nairobi Metropolitan Services succeeds in delivering services to Nairobi residents. Subsequently, Kenyatta has pulled all stops to make it easy for general body to deliver, with the latest being an attempt to bring together all administrators in Nairobi County with a view to have them buy into the Nairobi Metropolitan dream. Have a look.
On Friday, and all the national government administrators in Nairobi were brought together at the Kasarani Sports Complex in what Interior PS Dr. Karanja Kibicho described as introducing new officers into the city.
As you may be aware, there has been a change of guard.
The other objective, clearly, was to whip officers into line so as to support the operations of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services.
So that they are given matching orders as we start the new financial year and derive a framework and mechanisms of how to work together with the Nairobi Metropolitan Services.
The message was reiterated by Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i.
To ensure that we build the necessary administrative synergies to deliver for the people of Nairobi.
Matiang'i also said that a lot of work is ongoing, noting that Nairobi residents will soon going to witness change.
A lot of work is going on around Nairobi, and we came to discuss this. Unless we build that, solid institutional collaboration, we will not succeed.
Nairobi Metropolitan Services Director General Mohammed Badi echoed the same sentiments, noting that the establishment is going to improve the delivery of service to Nairobians.
We'll improve the environment, our working places, our infrastructure, so Nairobi becomes one of the best counties.
The focus on strengthening the NMS is a move that has continued to sideline embattled Governor Mike Sonko to the advantage of the NMS Director Mohammed Badi. On Wednesday, President Uhuru Kenyatta told Sonko to work together with Badi, whom he described as his service delivery general.
Yeye ni mfanyikazi wangu, ni jemedari wangu, akimaliza kazi ya Nairobi atarudi jeshi kulinda wananchi wa taifa la Kenya.
Now, 8 years since the death of the former Environment Minister John Mishuki, President Uhuru Kenyatta has officially opened the refurbished Mishuki Park in Nairobi. Mishuki spearheaded the project that is meant to improve ecological veracity for public use and enjoyment in accordance with the Constitution.
Parks are historically spaces of expression. Kamukunji, for instance, is the place where the national question on Kenya's independence was posed and debated by Africans. Uhuru Park and Jamhuri Park bear similar historical significance. Our parks, therefore, have represented activism for social change, hosted historical political moments, and harbored thousands of Kenyan childhood memories of family outings. And because they are spaces of national expression, recreation, and reflection, urban green spaces are the physical representation of the soul of a city. And in order to further foster the rebirth of Nairobi and our other urban areas and integrate the ongoing Greening Kenya campaign as our new normal, today I'm pleased to announce that we are launching a national campaign to mobilize citizens, business, industry, labor, and civil society towards a common goal, a goal of cleaning up Kenya. The Cleaning Up Kenya campaign shall be piloted here in Nairobi City County, commencing on the 1st of September this year. The campaign shall be anchored on the national government administration officers at the local level, who shall work together with the local communities and with stakeholders, both within and outside government, to enhance environmental restoration, conservation, and management. The campaign of Cleaning Up Kenya fits well with the ongoing Kazi Mtaani program, a program for whom we have already set aside 10 billion. And this new Cleaning Up Kenya campaign shall complement the efforts being made within the Kazi Mtaani program towards the improvement of environmental and sanitation conditions at the grassroots levels.
Now, Kenyans are set to dig deeper into their pockets as fuel costs rise for all three petroleum commodities. In the latest maximum pump price review, petrol costs are set to rise by 3 shillings 47 cents, while the price of diesel is set to increase by 2 shillings 76 cents per litre. Already, residents from Mombasa County are decrying kerosene shortage in the county.
Kerosene users will meanwhile see the steepest jump in cost at 18 shillings and 20 cents, with the price of the commodity having barely changed in July when no imports were registered. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority has attributed the wholesome rise in cost to an increase in price of fuel imports in the last month. According to IPRA, the changes in this month's prices are as consequence of the average landed cost of imported super petrol increasing by 14.18%, diesel increasing by 10.3%, and kerosene by 127.87%. A litre of super petrol is now expected to cost 103 Kenya shillings and 95 cents in Nairobi, up from the current cost of 100 shillings and 48 cents. Diesel is meanwhile expected to cost 94 Kenya shillings and 63 cents from 91 Kenya shillings and 87 cents. While kerosene cost will spike to 83 Kenya shillings and 65 cents per litre from a low of 65 Kenya shillings and 45 cents. The end of the relief is expected to pack pressure on cost of living while causing further foreign currency outflows in the form of a higher import bill. Meanwhile, parts of Mombasa are facing a kerosene shortage following an unstable flow of imports. Hundreds of residents keep queuing daily expecting the arrival of the products in vain.
Teseka na mafuta ya taa. Tukisikia hivyo tukikuja na vichupa vyetu hakuna mafuta ya taa. Hatujui, hatujaambiwa tuje lini, hatujaambiwa tutakuja lini. Itabidi tukatafute makaa, makuni tukapikie. Manake hatuna la kufanya sasa hivi. Uhuru aone penye tuko, twateseka sisi Wakenya wake twateseka. Hatuna eni.
A research carried out by Ebru TV in the county has revealed a shortage of kerosene at major petrol stations in Mombasa County, particularly Likoni, Kisauni and Changamwe, with fuel retailers making a kill on the little fuel available. This comes even as the prices of crude oil in organizations of the petroleum exporting countries have also seen an increase from $44 a barrel to $45. Abdelaziz Hashim, Ebru TV.
All right, we take a very short break, but when we come back, we tell you why there is no peace at the Amani National Congress when we come back. Don't go too far. We'll be right back. Now, welcome back to the broadcast. It is illegal for police officers to charge motorists towing charges every time their vehicles are towed to a police station after a traffic offense. A court in Nairobi has ruled that there is no law that allows the police to impose such fees and that it amounts to an abuse of power by the police. Principal Magistrate B.M. Zakio said the money charged by these police officers often go to individual pockets and not to the government. The ruling will now hit hard on police officers, some of them with senior ranks who have invested heavily in towing vehicles that have seen Kenyan motorists cough out thousands of shillings. Now, the peace at the Amani National Congress might be dwindling by the day, but the captain of the ship says steadying the boat is one task he knows too well how to handle. Musalia Mudavadi is upbeat that he is the party to watch in 2022, even as key members exit the party at a very crucial time.
The party leader has not been in a position as of now to propose the two names. I am sure you all know that only 2-3 days ago, our Secretary General formally tendered his resignation from the party. 2, the election board has now just been inaugurated, so they also need time to organize themselves to ensure election of the Secretary General.
I will take some time, consult, and then when it is appropriate, I will give indication that now we have the two names to be brought to the Amani National Council for consideration, and then now we can formally elect our new Secretary General. So whoever will be there will be holding temporarily, pending the process to be concluded successfully. Nowadays, whether news is good or bad, one thing that has come out clearly, every other day you will find there's a story about ANC in the papers. That is significant, because if we were just like that, kama tungekuwa watu wa maana, nobody would even bother about us. But the fact that every other day there's an article somewhere, either they are criticizing ANC, either they are trying to demoralize ANC, either they are praising ANC, either they are saying something about ANC. That is the message. And I also want to encourage you to become spokesmen in your branches. Become spokesmen in your branches. Don't be shy to talk to the press.
All right, now let's take a look at our international front. Turkey said on Friday that history will not forget and never forgive the hypocritical behavior of the United Arab Emirates in agreeing a deal with Israel to normalize relations. Now, the foreign ministry said the Palestinian people and administration were right to react strongly against the agreement, which recasts the order of Middle East politics from the Palestinian issue to fight against Iran. As part of the deal, Israel would suspend its plans to annex large parts of Palestinian land in the West Bank.
Emirati Muslims can now pray in the historic Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem after the United Arab Emirates announced Thursday it has normalized relations with Israel. At the White House, President Donald Trump applauded the announcement.
Now that the ice has been broken, I expect more Arab and Muslim countries will follow the United Arab Emirates lead.
The UAE-Israel agreement is only the third Israel-Arab peace deal since Israel's declaration of independence in 1948. Egypt signed one in 1979 and Jordan in 1994. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it a historic day, a sentiment supported by administration officials.
It wouldn't surprise me if the president's eventually nominated for a Nobel Prize.
In terms of a step towards regional peace, I think that part is currently being exaggerated. There was never a threat of a conflict between Israel and the UAE. But this is the first Gulf state to normalize relations with Israel, and that's going to open up a lot of new possibilities for the two countries.
As part of the deal, Israel has agreed to suspend further annexation of Palestinian land in the West Bank. Analysts say that taking annexation off the table benefits Israel strategically since it won't absorb a significant number of Palestinians against their will.
Thus putting over the long term Israel in a really terrible position of choosing whether they're going to pick their Jewish identity or their identity as a liberal democratic state. That's not a situation that any friend of Israel wants to see Israel in over the long run.
The UAE-Israel deal is seen as further isolating another regional power, Iran. The U.S. is currently trying to push a UN Security Council resolution to extend an arms embargo on Tehran due to expire in October. China and Russia have signaled they will veto it. If the resolution fails, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has threatened to invoke the snapback option, restoring all UN sanctions on Iran.
What about the snapback option on Iran? Do you support that?
We're not going to talk to you about that. We're going to work something out, and then we'll talk after it's completed. But it'll be very satisfactory.
Trump said the UAE and Israel will join the U.S. to formally sign the agreement in Washington in the next few weeks. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News at the White House.
Welcome to the world of business. Now, Kitui County is characterized by falling food production, low resilience to climate change and water scarcity. The combined effects of climate change are increasing food insecurity, environmental degradation, and high poverty levels. Now, this has led to a decrease in food production and supply. Therefore, Kitui farmers have embraced a tale of new farming scheme, meander irrigation, which is changing their fortunes. Have a look.
These farmers are conducting meander irrigation in Mwingi North along River Dhungudu, which is a seasonal river, where they are cultivating all sorts of vegetables, chili for export, mangoes and maize. According to one of the farmers, Mrs. Agnes Muthoi, they have formed agricultural cooperatives where they were provided with seeds by the county government of Kitui to boost their production.
Tulianza na ikundi linaitwa Iman, tukapatiwa ndawa na mbegu. Na kwa saa hii tunaendelea, lakini ile natusumbua zaidi ni hii tuta. Katabila hii inaitwa tuta. Maana tunauliza ikiwa kuna mahali tunaweza saidiwa na account, tusaidiwe. Sababu tunailisha hii Mwingi North yote, na tunataka kwenda mbele.
Some of the farmers are earning a lot through farming. Peter Mwenzi, a farmer who shifted from growing maize and tomatoes into growing chili for export, said that since he started cultivating chili, he has reaping in fortune, for he has been harvesting after every 2 weeks.
Nilianza katikati wa mwezi wa 11 na kaendelea mpaka mwezi wa 3 katikati ndio tulianza kuuza. Kwa nilitangulia kitambo, niliona wakiendelea mzuri. Niliona wakiuza kila wiki wanauza, kila wiki wanauza.
Hauhitaji expenses nyingi, attention nyingi, lakini ukipanda kitu kingine kama mahindi lazima uanze kupiga madawa nini na kila wakati.
Agricultural officer in charge of water and livestock development, Titus Musila, urged farmers who are near rivers to make good use of them by embracing meander irrigation program so as to increase food production in the area.
Kitu ya kwanza, sababu kuna wale ambao hawajabahatika kuwa karibu na mto, ni kuweka mitaro inayoitwa soil conservation structures kushika yale maji. Na wale ambao wamebahatika pia tumekuwa tukihimiza na tutaendelea watu waweze kufanya ile tunaita farm pond. Ndio kama wewe huko karibu na mto, unaweza kuwa na farm pond ya kuchota yale maji alafu mvua kama imekuwa kidogo, unachapa yale maji kumalizia ama kufanya chakula yako ama mimea yako isikauke.
Kitui Value Chain Addition Specialist Dr. Temi Mutia said that the value addition is important to the farmers because it helps in raising the income.
The area we are really focusing on is value addition. For example, the chili which cannot be exported and the tomatoes which are going to waste, we are going to partner with Jomo Kenyatta University, Department of Food Science and Technology, and we have already partnered anyway, so that we can make chili sauce and the tomato sauce and other sauces which are going to come from that, and also the other products that we have. We are going to be training the youth, giving them applied skills.
Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
Now, thousands of Kenyans who depend on rice as their staple food may miss their favorite meal in the future following destruction of hundreds of paddy rice fields in MWEA by an alien snail. The snail is destroying their crop in Tembere and decaying schemes at an early stage, thus lowering production by between 30% and 20% per acre.
Following the development, National Irrigation Board and Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate teams are working round the clock to develop a pesticide which can control the snail christianized dinosaur by farmers. MWEA rice scheme in Kirinyaga County has over 30,000 acres under cultivation of the crop and account for most of the rice produced in the country. According to farmers, their woes start while transplanting their rice from nurseries to farm.
Na ile shinda tumepata ni kubwa, yani season hii. Maana katika ekari moja tunanunua mbegu ya kilo 8. Unapanda raini na hiyo ekari inakuisha. Lakini wakati huu tunanunua zaidi na zaidi, maana nimetumia kilo 55.
Sasa mpaka sasa wakulima wengi hawana pesa za kulima. Wanalima tu wakiwa na mkopo kwa watu, kwa wale watu wa biashara nyingi kubwa kubwa.
The snail was introduced by an university in 2018 and was meant to control weed, but has now turned into a bitter pill for them. A spot check revealed that farmers in the paddy fields have resulted to removing the snail manually.
Watu wote tunapanda tuko na shida ya snail. Hizi kono. Kwa sababu ukipanda mchele kwa shamba zinakula zote. So shida ambayo sasa tuko nayo ni kwa sababu hakuna dawa. Wale ambao watu meita hapa watuangalie hizi kono wamesema hakuna dawa.
Contacted National Irrigation Board manager in charge of MWEA rice scheme, Mr. Innocent Aliemba, confirmed the existence of the alien snail, saying that it's true farmers are losing a lot.
There are about 4 units that have been affected by these snails. These are about 500 acres. However, it's important to note that currently there's no registered chemical as per what the researchers have told us for the control of these snails.
Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
Samburu County has launched a conservation act meant towards supporting its tourism sector. The act aims at streamlining and legitimizing support in its over 39 conservancies and also formation of the county's conservancies fund and board to manage tourism resources.
Samburu County government has so far spent close to 800 million shillings to establish and support growth of community conservancies, creating over 2,000 employment opportunities for the locals. And in support of this, the county government has come up with a new law, dubbed Samburu County Conservation Act, to enable county government and her partners to effectively support growth of community-based conservation initiatives in order to boost tourism in the county. Speaking at Goteya Conservancy, where he also launched a tourism facility, the county governor Moses Lennon Kulal said the new law will streamline and legitimize support that has been going to community conservancies.
As communities, we've embraced conservation. We are well aware that so far the whole of our county is covered by conservancies across the board, from Samburu North to Wamba. We'll continue supporting conservancies through the fund that is now a legal entity managed by the board, and additional support coming from partners will come through the same fund.
Na sio tu kusaidia conservancy peke yake ikiwa ni conservancy.
hiyo msaada pia huwa inafikia community kwa njia nyingine. Manake ile biashara tunafanya ya utalii, utakuta ile pesa tunapata kwa utalii, kuna vile tunagawa mara mbili. 40% ya hiyo mapato inarudi kwa conservancy. 60% ya mapato ya utalii tunapeleka kwa community.
The act also aimed at enhancing the security operation in the area.
And by extension, complement the national security team in maintaining security, especially issues touching on cat rustling, issues touching on highway banditry, and it has gone a long way to assist us mitigate these issues of insecurity.
At least 80% of the local revenue in the county comes from the tourism sector, and the move will now see them generate more revenue. Melik Senya for Ebru TV.
All right, time for us to look at the Forex exchange. We'll be coming right back with the world of sports. Now, world champions Timothy Cheruiyot, 1,500 meters, Helen Obiri, 5,000 meters, and Beatrice Chepkoech, 3,000 meters steeplechase will tonight line up in Monaco as the 2020 Diamond League gets underway. Cheruiyot will be eyeing revenge against the Ingebrigtsen brothers from Norway, who beat him during the virtual Mori Plant 2,000 meters race at the Impossible Games on June 11th. Obiri, the 2016 Rio Olympics 5,000 meters silver medalist, will take on Chepkoech and world 10,000 meters champion Sifan Hassan from the Netherlands in the 5,000 meters race. Well, this is where we wrap up Ebru Primetime News. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Thank you always for choosing Ebru to keep you informed. My name is Diana Rachel Mbugua. Our sign language interpreter for tonight has been Joyce Werimo. Do have yourself a lovely night and a fantastic weekend ahead. I now leave you with a day's weather forecast. Good night.